Trying to navigate life without life skills is like trying to drive to a destination without a map. You might get where you're trying to go eventually, but it will take much longer and you'll probably make way more mistakes along the way. Hi ladies, welcome back to the Feminine Universe. I am so happy to have you here. At some point, we are all expected to step out and tackle life on our own to some extent. And depending on how we were raised, what resources we have, or what major life change we're dealing with, we may or may not be prepared for everything life may throw at us. So I thought it could be helpful to share some things that will help you avoid some less desirable situations and handle the inevitable situations in the best possible way. I'm sure no one wants to be confused and scrambling when it's time to make significant decisions. So today we are going to go over 10 essential life skills that every woman should have in order to successfully face challenges, maintain balance in her life, and feel competent, confident, and prepared overall. So if that sounds useful to you, let's get started. The first life skill every woman should have is learning to prioritize your safety. This includes listening to your gut the minute something or someone feels off. Your intuition exists for a reason, and it's usually right. This also means doing research on an area's safety statistics before going there, whether you're looking for an apartment to move into or when you're going on vacation. How safe is the building and the area? Read the reviews. Safety also includes keeping the right things in your car if you drive, from a spare tire and jumper cables and knowledge of how to use them, to some basic tools, to a seatbelt cutter and a glass breaker that you hopefully never have to use. Prioritizing safety also includes utilizing strength in numbers or a buddy system with your girls when you can, and making a point to let someone who cares about you know where you are or when they should expect to hear from you. Don't be shy about being a little extra either. Toss that drink you mistakenly left unsupervised and get a new one. Ask someone to walk you to your car or your Uber whenever you feel the need to. I wish we lived in a world where women being hyper-focused on their safety at all times wasn't a necessity. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And I'm team better safe than sorry. I want you to be prepared for the world we live in, not the world we wish we lived in. We will definitely be talking about safety some more, but for now, remember you are your first line of defense. So prioritize your safety. The next life skill is learning how to manage your healthcare, physically, mentally, all of it. This gets overlooked sometimes, either because we were never taught and we don't know how, or because we get so busy caring for other things and other people in our lives that we forget about ourselves. So here are a few things you should be doing. Stay on top of your daily basic care. Do the research to find a good doctor for you. Make sure you know how often you should be making certain types of appointments, like yearly checkups. I'll put a small guide on the screen to get you started. Also remember to do your self-breast exams. No one should be more familiar with your ladies than you. I know in some cultures or families where women aren't taught much about their bodies, this can get skipped over sometimes. But you should get to know your body extremely well so that if something ever feels off, you can catch it immediately. On that note, also be very tuned into your cycle or your period and what's normal for you in that sense. You also want to manage your health through getting exercise and just moving your body regularly. Take mental and physical breaks when you need them. You also want to make an effort to eat a healthy, balanced diet most of the time. And also incorporate supplements if you need them. My mom definitely had us on those Flintstone vitamins growing up, and I've been a supplement girly ever since. One supplement I've been enjoying currently is AG1, so a big thanks to them for also sponsoring this portion of the video. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement, so instead of just focusing on getting me my greens, it actually supplies me with 75 different nutrients that support my brain, gut, and whole body health. I love knowing that I'm getting essential nutrients that help me cover all my bases and give my body this level of support. With my lifestyle, I also appreciate how simple it is to use, whether I'm at home or on the go. So if you're in the market for a full body supplement to support your health journey and you'd like to try this one, go to drinkag1.com/thefeminineuniverse to make sure you get a free 1-year supply of their vitamin D3 plus K2 drops and 5 AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. The third life skill every woman should have is knowing how to balance a budget. I really should say knowing how to manage all your personal finances, from budgeting to saving to credit and investing. And I do have a video on getting started with your personal finance, but I wanted to keep this section specific and actionable, and everything starts with your budget. We hear terms like living above your means or living below your means, and a lot of people don't actually know what that means or how to apply it. Learning how to balance your budget is making a note of every penny you make weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, and going through line by line and allotting that money to a certain place to make sure all your needs are met and that you're able to save for a rainy day and for your future. Your budget allows you to catch and keep any money that's slipping through the cracks. That is money you may not realize that you're spending that's eating into your bottom line. Now, I'm not trying to rob anyone of their tiny luxuries. I indulge myself too, but it's just about being aware that it's happening and how much you're actually spending. A budget also gives you guidelines for where your money should be going. The 50-30-20 rule, for example, teaches that you should be putting 50% of your income towards your needs, 30% toward your wants, and 20% towards your savings. By balancing your budget, you avoid the trap of blindly spending or overpaying for a certain expense over a long period of time, which may leave you with no additional income to save or invest, which will be a nightmare when you need to deal with something like an unexpected expense down the line. The fourth life skill every woman should have is some type of CPR, first aid, or fire safety training. I don't care if you work in healthcare or not. This will be helpful for you as an individual. And if you have or want to have children, or if you look after your elderly parents, this can be priceless. It's just terrifying to imagine losing someone because they were choking and no one knew what to do, or moving someone who's been hurt, who based on their injury actually should have been left in place, or throwing water on the type of fire that is actually made worse by water. These are just some things that we should all know and learn about that could save a life. God forbid it ever comes to that. You can look for these kind of courses on the Red Cross website. Some local hospitals will also teach these things. The basic courses start at about $60 and can increase depending on how much more you want to learn. I personally have been certified, but it's definitely lapsed. So doing this video for you has inspired me to go and get my certification current again, because a refresher is always good, even if you know these things. The next life skill I think every woman should have is to know how to cook. Since we all have to eat and we do it every day, it makes sense that we should all know how to cook. Being able to cook will give you so many advantages in life. Number one, it will allow you to be in control of your health by being in control of what goes into your body. As they say, fitness begins in the kitchen. Number two, it will save you tons of money because eating out every day, even at the most affordable places, adds up way more than groceries ever could. So whether you're saving money on cooking for yourself or saving money by cooking for your family, that is one expense that you can significantly reduce. And as we talk about cooking, I think we should also know how to properly put a meal together. For a typical meal, assuming you have no specific health concerns and you're not on any diet, a good rule of thumb is 1 protein, 1 starchy carb, and 1 side of fruit or vegetables. This way, you're getting all your macros which are your proteins, fats, and carbs. You're touching on all the major food groups throughout the day and exposing yourself to the variety of nutrients that come from these different foods. Now, if your cooking skills also happen to have your man that much more wrapped around your finger and that much more obsessed with you, well, that's between you and him. The next life skill is knowing how to present yourself or to put your best foot forward. Even if you don't choose to put yourself all the way together every day, you should know how to do it. There's a reason when you're about to fight for your life in court, your attorney will instruct you to put yourself together a certain way, dress a certain way, and speak a certain way, because it has an effect on how people view you and the results you will receive. I can't make it any simpler than that. Have your hygiene down pat. Know how to iron or steam your clothing. Dress appropriately for the occasion. Have a handbag and shoes that are in good condition, and apply a little fragrance. And remember, your presentation isn't just about how you look, but also how you carry yourself, your posture and the way you walk, the way you speak. The more you practice this, the more it will become second nature. Like I said, even if you don't choose to keep all of these things front of mind every day, you should know how to tap in and apply them for things like job interviews, applying for a bank loan for your home or small business, and for attending more formal events. It's not everything, but I promise you, it always helps and will absolutely tip the scales in your favor. The next life skill every woman needs is time management. I will say this with my full chest. People severely underestimate how much you can get done when you manage your time. If you told me a few years ago that I'd be able to find 15 to 20 extra hours in my week to work on a YouTube channel, I wouldn't have believed you. Now, I understand there are some folks who are truly strapped for time, but for many others, it really is an issue of mismanaged time. When you don't manage your time, just like if you don't manage your money, what happens is much of it slips through the cracks, just a little at a time. 15 minutes gone here, 20 minutes gone there, maybe an hour gone there, and the next thing you know, the days, the weeks, and the years slip past you. I was reading a study that said the average American spends at least 4.5 hours a day on their phone, on social media in particular. Imagine if you spent one of those hours working out daily, or even multitasked by scrolling while you're on the treadmill, or watching videos while you meal prep. If you make an effort to scrounge up the little wasted minutes while still scheduling time for leisure, relaxation, and a little escapism without allowing it to take over your life, you will get so much more done. We've talked about scheduling and planning quite a bit on this channel, so I'll leave it at this. Make a list of what's important to you and what you want to achieve. Then take a look at how you spend your time and determine if the way you're spending your time reflects what you say is important to you. The next life skill is learning how to communicate effectively. When you're catching up with your girlfriends, it's totally fine to talk about everything and nothing all at once. But in most other situations, whether you're writing or speaking, you need to be able to make your point in a reasonable amount of time and make it in a way that the person you're communicating with will understand your point or what you want. To communicate effectively, you also need to be able to listen properly in order for you to both understand what the other person is saying, but also to understand why they're saying it. What is their end goal, or what's inspiring them to make that point? Because if you're interested in negotiations at all, like I am, you'll know that if you're able to just make someone feel heard and understood and clearly communicate to them that you understand them, it becomes so much easier to reach a conclusion and ultimately a solution. When you learn to communicate effectively, you also realize how important it is that the style of communication fits the occasion or the circumstances. Are you writing a thank you note, or are you giving an employee feedback? Are you complaining to a company about subpar service or results? Or are you requesting a perk or a little something extra like a room upgrade? I know we have a video on how to speak to anyone and just getting better at general small talk, but if you want a video on effective communication where I can touch on how to communicate in different types of situations with a few scripts or something like that, just drop effective communication in the comments and I'll know to put that together for you. The next life skill is knowing how to keep growing. For a lot of different reasons, many people stop growing the minute they stop going to school or the minute they leave the workforce. And a big reason that their growth stops in these chapters is because they stop learning. Many people associate learning with school, so the minute they're not being graded or tested on what they've learned, they may think learning isn't important anymore. And this can cause your life to remain stagnant, cause a drift between you and others who have decided to keep growing because you won't have anything to talk about or connect on. And it also makes you easier to take advantage of. So whether you go to college or not, whether you decide to be or become a stay-at-home mom, or when you choose to retire, always make sure you read. Make sure you have a hobby where you can interact and exchange ideas. Make sure you stay on top of new technology to an extent. Not saying you have to know everything about it. Lord knows I'm not tech savvy. But just always push yourself to learn a little something new. Watch videos, ask questions, take classes at your local library or community center. Knowledge is power. So make a point to keep learning so you can keep growing. And the 10th life skill I think every woman should have is being able to spend time alone. Learning and getting comfortable with spending time alone and being by yourself has so many benefits. Firstly, it allows you to get a better idea of who you are and what you like. What do you do and what do you think when no one is around to have an influence on that? That way, your tastes and opinions won't be so easily swayed the moment you hear someone else's ideas because you've built a foundation for yourself. It also allows you not to lower your standards or debase yourself for the sake of company, which by default will attract and keep good people around you. Some people are so terrified of being with themselves that they will settle for bad company rather than be alone. When you enjoy your own company, you get really good at parting ways with people who don't uplift you or bring you good vibes because you're so used to good vibes with yourself. So schedule time alone daily or weekly to go for a long walk, to have a spa or pamper day at the spa or at home. Cook and try new recipes, journal, create a vision board. Treat yourself with so much love, care, and tenderness that when anyone tries to infiltrate your space with anything less than that, you will actually be repulsed and run for the hills. With these skills, you can build a foundation that will make it easier for you to not only navigate life, but win at life. You weren't made just to exist or just to live. You deserve to thrive. And by getting these skills down and being thoroughly prepared for some of life's inevitable situations, you will be one step closer to that incredible life. Until next time, ladies, stay feminine, stay focused, and have fun.